What would you do if someone tried to steal your bag in a crowded airport? Would you chase them down? Call for help? Or would you do something completely unexpected? When a thief attempted to steal Johnny Depp's bag, his reaction was nothing short of astonishing. It revealed a side of him that left everyone in awe and sparked conversations about empathy, grace, and the power of human connection. Welcome to Story Spot, where we uncover the most captivating tales you've never heard before. Today, we're diving into an extraordinary incident involving Hollywood icon Johnny Depp. Picture this: a bustling airport, flashing cameras, and a thief who thought they could get away with stealing from one of the most recognizable faces in the world. But what happened next? Let's just say Johnny Depp's response was anything but ordinary. It was a moment that redefined how we think about handling unexpected challenges. In this video, you'll discover how Johnny Depp turned a potentially chaotic situation into a lesson in compassion and composure. Was it anger, forgiveness, or something even more surprising? Stick around because this story will leave you rethinking how you'd react in a moment of crisis. Before we dive into the details, make sure you're subscribed to Story Spot and hit that notification bell. We bring you the most intriguing stories that you won't find anywhere else. Now let's set the stage for this unforgettable moment. Imagine a crowded airport filled with the usual chaos of travelers rushing to catch flights, families saying their goodbyes, and the constant hum of announcements over the loudspeaker. For most people, airports are stressful enough, but for someone like Johnny Depp, it's a whole different level of intensity. Johnny, one of the most famous actors in the world, was traveling like any other passenger. But let's be real. There's no such thing as a normal day for a global superstar. Wherever he goes, he's surrounded by fans hoping for a selfie, paparazzi trying to snap the perfect shot, and curious onlookers whispering, "Is that really him?" On this particular day, the airport was no exception. The energy was electric, and all eyes were on him. Now imagine being in Johnny's shoes. You're trying to navigate through the crowd, keeping a low profile despite the attention, and just focusing on getting to your destination. But in the middle of all this, something unexpected happens. A thief, probably thinking they could take advantage of the chaos, spots an opportunity. Johnny's bag, likely filled with personal belongings, becomes a target. It's worth noting that Johnny Depp isn't just any celebrity. Over the years, he's built a reputation for being one of the most down-to-earth and kind-hearted figures in Hollywood. Despite his fame, he's known for his humility and his ability to connect with people on a personal level. Whether it's visiting children's hospitals in full Captain Jack Sparrow costume or taking time to chat with fans, Johnny has always shown a level of kindness that sets him apart. But back to the scene at the airport. The thief, perhaps unaware of who they were dealing with, makes their move. In a split second, they grab Johnny's bag and try to disappear into the crowd. Now, most people in this situation would panic. They might scream for help, chase after the thief, or call security. But Johnny Depp, he did none of that. What happened next was a moment that no one saw coming. Instead of reacting with anger or frustration, Johnny remained calm. Those who witnessed the incident later described his demeanor as almost surreal. It was as if he had complete control over the situation, even though it had taken him completely by surprise. The airport, already buzzing with activity, suddenly became the stage for this unbelievable moment. Fans and onlookers watched in shock as the scene unfolded. Some pulled out their phones to record, while others simply stood frozen, unsure of what to do. The tension in the air was palpable. Everyone was waiting to see how Johnny would handle the situation. But here's the thing. Johnny Depp didn't act like a typical Hollywood star. He didn't throw a fit or demand special treatment. Instead, he approached the situation in a way that only he could. His response wasn't just surprising, it was downright inspiring. As we dive deeper into the story, it's important to understand the kind of person Johnny Depp is. He's not just an actor. He's a man who has faced his fair share of challenges, both in his personal life and in the public eye. From legal battles to media scrutiny, Johnny has been through a lot. Yet through it all, he's maintained a sense of grace and composure that's rare in the world of celebrities. This incident at the airport wasn't just about a thief trying to steal a bag. It was a moment that revealed the true character of Johnny Depp. It showed the world that even in a high-pressure situation, he could rise above the chaos and handle things with dignity. So as we move forward in this story, keep in mind the setting: a crowded airport, a thief seizing an opportunity, and a Hollywood legend who responded in a way that no one could have predicted. The stage was set for a moment that would leave everyone speechless, and it's a moment you won't want to miss. Now let's get into the heart of the story, the moment that turned an ordinary day at the airport into something extraordinary. It all happened in a flash, but the impact of what unfolded would linger in the minds of everyone who witnessed it. Johnny Depp was making his way through the airport, surrounded by the usual buzz of activity. Fans were trying to catch a glimpse of him, paparazzi were snapping photos, and the general chaos of a busy travel day was in full swing. Despite the attention, Johnny seemed focused on getting to his destination. He was carrying a bag, likely filled with personal items, and moving through the crowd with his signature calm demeanor. But in the middle of all this, something unexpected happened. A thief, probably thinking they could take advantage of the commotion, spotted an opportunity. Johnny's bag, sitting within reach, became the target. In a split second, the thief grabbed it and tried to blend back into the crowd. Now let's pause for a moment and think about what most people would do in this situation. If someone tried to steal your bag in a crowded place, your first instinct might be to shout, chase after them, or call for help. But Johnny Depp, his reaction was nothing like that. Instead of panicking or getting angry, Johnny remained eerily calm. Those who were there later described the moment as surreal. It was as if time slowed down, and everyone around him held their breath, waiting to see what he would do. The thief, likely expecting a scene, was probably just as surprised by Johnny's reaction, or lack thereof. What happened next was a masterclass in composure. Johnny didn't run after the thief or yell for security. Instead, he simply turned and looked at the person who had taken his bag. There was no anger in his eyes, no frustration in his body language, just a quiet, almost curious expression, as if he was trying to understand why someone would do such a thing. Witnesses later recalled that Johnny even took a step toward the thief, not in a threatening way, but in a manner that suggested he wanted to talk. Can you imagine? In the middle of a crowded airport, with cameras flashing and people watching, Johnny Depp approached the person who had just tried to steal from him. The thief, now realizing who they were dealing with, seemed frozen. Maybe it was the shock of being confronted by a Hollywood legend, or maybe it was the unexpected kindness in Johnny's demeanor. Whatever it was, the situation took a turn that no one could have predicted. Instead of scolding the thief or making a scene, Johnny did something that left everyone speechless. He spoke to the person, not with anger, but with a level of understanding that was both surprising and heartwarming. While the exact words exchanged weren't captured, those who were close enough to hear described the interaction as calm and respectful. It's worth noting that Johnny Depp has always been known for his ability to connect with people on a human level. Whether he's interacting with fans, colleagues, or even strangers, he has a way of making people feel seen and heard. This incident was no different. In a moment that could have easily escalated into chaos, Johnny chose to approach it with empathy. As the interaction unfolded, the atmosphere in the airport shifted. What started as a tense, almost dramatic moment turned into something entirely different. People who had been watching from a distance began to murmur among themselves, amazed by what they were seeing. Some even pulled out their phones to capture the moment, though it's unclear if any footage of the actual exchange exists. The thief, now visibly shaken, handed the bag back to Johnny. There was no struggle, no argument, just a quiet resolution that left everyone in awe. Johnny took his bag, nodded at the person, and continued on his way, as if nothing had happened. But something had happened. This wasn't just a story about a thief and a celebrity. It was a moment that revealed the true character of Johnny Depp. In a situation where most people would have reacted with anger or frustration, Johnny chose a different path. He showed that even in the face of adversity, it's possible to respond with grace and understanding. As the crowd began to disperse and the airport returned to its usual hustle and bustle, the incident lingered in the minds of those who had witnessed it. For many, it was a reminder of why Johnny Depp is so beloved by fans around the world. It wasn't just his talent as an actor that made him special. It was his ability to handle even the most unexpected situations with kindness and humility. And so, the story of Johnny Depp and the airport thief became more than just a viral moment. It became a testament to the power of empathy and the impact one person's actions can have on those around them. When the thief made their move, the entire atmosphere in the airport seemed to shift. All eyes were on Johnny Depp, waiting to see how he would react. Would he lose his temper, call for security, or would he do something completely unexpected? As it turns out, Johnny's response was nothing short of extraordinary, and it left everyone in the room speechless. Instead of reacting with anger or frustration, Johnny remained calm. Those who were close enough to witness the incident later described his demeanor as almost surreal. It was as if he had complete control over the situation, even though it had taken him completely by surprise. While most people would have instinctively chased after the thief or raised their voice, Johnny did something entirely different. He simply turned and looked at the person who had taken his bag. There was no shouting, no dramatic gestures, just a quiet, steady gaze. It was a look that seemed to say, "I see you, and I know what you're doing." The thief, likely expecting a scene, was probably just as stunned by Johnny's reaction as everyone else. Here was a Hollywood legend, someone who could have easily called for security or made a public spectacle, choosing to handle the situation in a way that no one saw coming. But Johnny didn't stop there. In a move that shocked everyone, he took a step toward the thief, not in a threatening way, but in a manner that suggested he wanted to talk. Can you imagine? In the middle of a crowded airport, with cameras flashing and people watching, Johnny Depp approached the person who had just tried to steal from him. It was a moment that defied all expectations. Witnesses later recalled that Johnny spoke to the thief. Though the exact words exchanged remain a mystery, what we do know is that his tone was calm and respectful. There was no anger in his voice, no attempt to shame or humiliate the person. Instead, he seemed to approach the situation with a level of understanding that was both surprising and heartwarming. This wasn't just about getting his bag back. It was about how Johnny chose to handle the moment. He didn't see the thief as an enemy or a criminal. He saw them as a person, someone who, for whatever reason, felt compelled to take something that wasn't theirs. And in that moment, Johnny's response wasn't just about resolving the situation. It was about showing compassion. The thief, now face to face with one of the most famous actors in the world, seemed to freeze. Maybe it was the shock of being confronted by Johnny Depp himself, or maybe it was the unexpected kindness in his demeanor. Whatever it was, the tension in the air began to dissolve. The thief, visibly shaken, handed the bag back to Johnny without a word. But Johnny didn't just take the bag and walk away. He acknowledged the person with a nod, as if to say, "It's okay." There was no judgment, no lingering anger, just a quiet understanding that left everyone in awe. It was a moment that spoke volumes about Johnny's character and the way he chooses to navigate the world. For those who witnessed the incident, it was a reminder of why Johnny Depp is so beloved by fans around the world. It wasn't just his talent as an actor that made him special, it was his ability to connect with people on a human level. Even in a moment of crisis, he showed that kindness and empathy could prevail over anger and frustration. This wasn't the first time Johnny had surprised people with his actions. Over the years, he's built a reputation for being one of the most down-to-earth and kind-hearted figures in Hollywood. Whether it's visiting children's hospitals in full Captain Jack Sparrow costume or taking the time to chat with fans, Johnny has always shown a level of humility that sets him apart. But this incident at the airport was different. It wasn't planned or staged. It was a spontaneous moment that revealed the true essence of who Johnny Depp is. In a situation where most people would have reacted with anger or frustration, Johnny chose a different path. He showed that even in the face of adversity, it's possible to respond with grace and understanding. As the crowd began to disperse and the airport returned to its usual hustle and bustle, the incident lingered in the minds of those who had witnessed it. For many, it was a reminder of the power of empathy and the impact one person's actions can have on those around them. Johnny Depp's response wasn't just about resolving a conflict, it was about setting an example. And so, the story of Johnny Depp and the airport thief became more than just a viral moment. It became a testament to the idea that even in the most unexpected situations, we have the power to choose how we respond. Johnny's actions that day showed that kindness and understanding can go a long way, that sometimes the most powerful response is the one that leaves everyone speechless. At first glance, the story of Johnny Depp and the airport thief might seem like just another celebrity anecdote, a quirky moment that makes for a good headline. But if you look closer, it's so much more than that. This story isn't just about a Hollywood star and a stolen bag. It's about human nature, empathy, and the choices we make when faced with unexpected challenges. Let's start with the obvious. Johnny Depp is a global icon. He has spent decades in the spotlight, captivating audiences with his performances and building a reputation as one of the most talented actors of his generation. But what this incident reveals is something deeper than his fame or talent. It shows us the kind of person he is when the cameras aren't rolling, when the script is flipped, and he's faced with a real-life situation that no one could have predicted. In that moment at the airport, Johnny had a choice. He could have reacted with anger, frustration, or even indifference. He could have called for security, made a scene, or simply walked away. But he didn't. Instead, he chose to respond with calmness and compassion. He approached the thief not as a criminal, but as a person, someone who, for whatever reason, felt compelled to take something that wasn't theirs. In doing so, he reminded us all of the power of empathy. This story matters because it challenges us to think about how we would react in a similar situation. Let's be honest. Most of us would probably panic or get angry if someone tried to steal from us. It's a natural response, born out of fear and a sense of violation. But Johnny's reaction forces us to ask ourselves, what if we chose a different path? What if, instead of reacting with anger, we responded with understanding? It's not an easy thing to do. In fact, it's incredibly difficult. But that's what makes this story so powerful. It shows us that even in the heat of the moment, when emotions are running high, we have the ability to choose how we respond. And that choice can have a profound impact, not just on the situation itself, but on the people around us. Think about the witnesses at the airport that day. They weren't just watching a celebrity handle a thief. They were witnessing a moment of humanity. They saw someone choose kindness over anger, understanding over judgment. And in doing so, Johnny Depp set an example that resonated far beyond the walls of that airport. This story also matters because it reminds us that fame and fortune don't define a person's character. Johnny Depp could have easily used his status to demand special treatment or make a public spectacle. But he didn't. Instead, he handled the situation with humility and grace, proving that true character is revealed not in moments of ease, but in moments of adversity. It's worth noting that Johnny has faced his fair share of challenges over the years, from legal battles to personal struggles. He's been through a lot in the public eye. Through it all, he's maintained a sense of dignity and compassion that's rare in the world of celebrities. This incident at the airport was just another example of that. It showed us that even when life throws unexpected curveballs, it's possible to rise above the chaos and respond with integrity. But this story isn't just about Johnny Depp. It's about all of us. It's a reminder that we all have the power to choose how we respond to difficult situations. Whether it's a thief at an airport, a rude comment from a stranger, or a conflict at work, we have the ability to decide how we react. And those choices, no matter how small, can have a ripple effect. Imagine if more people chose to respond with kindness and understanding, even in the face of adversity. Imagine the impact that could have on our communities, our relationships, and even ourselves. This story matters because it challenges us to be better, to strive for empathy and compassion, even when it's hard. It also matters because it highlights the importance of perspective. In the moment, it might have been easy for Johnny to see the thief as an